Sahana vavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to everyone, we welcome everyone to the Satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are now doing study circle on Gita Vahini, and we are going to start on page 32, chapter 7, on the soft copy you received on the email. And on the hard copy, it is page 57 of the chapter 7. So last week, briefly, I will summarize what we discussed. Then Nirupama can add anything else. So just two main things is practical things. One of the five human values, two most important in addition to love, is Sathya and Dharma, truth and Dharma. This is the important values for the all humanity. So that is where the famous scriptural saying is, Satyam vada dharmam chara. That means speak the truth and practice dharma. And Swami, as I said, fun, he said, people now do satyam vada, they kill truth, that means they don't tell truth, and dharmam chara, if they present dharma, that means they don't practice dharma. But the God has given assurance, the scriptures, Satyameva jayate, the people who follow truth, they always will be victorious. Truth prevails. So we should have that conviction when God, avatars, over millennia they have said, we should believe, even though temporarily we said people for convenience or certain situation they may want to tell lies, but ultimately it is shown that truth prevails. Second is dharmo rakshati rakshita. The one who protects dharma, dharma will protect them. So there is also many instances. And one of the greatest example is Sri Rama, where nowadays everybody is talking about Sri Rama. Sri Rama is called Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. He is just embodiment of dharma itself, whether as a king or as a son or as a friend, or even as an enemy. They say he discharged his dharma in a perfect way. So that is why dharmo rakshati rakshatiha. So even people over time, so like we hear the stories of Emperor Harishchandra, a lot of you know, so who, for the sake of truth, he had to give up. Here, even little things you don't want in customs, people put a tax, people will tell something, or to do that. But there, he lost his kingdom, he lost his family, and he has to be like a gatekeeper for a burial ground. But he didn't mind for the sake of truth. Finally, even though he went through a lot of trials and tribulations, he had the blessings of the Lord, gods. So that is what and that is the story which inspired Mahatma Gandhi when he saw the play of Satya Harishchandra. That is why his autobiography is called My Experiments with Truth. So it was touched him, and that is why it is, in addition to another thing where practicing nonviolence, his emphasis is in on truth. And even Lord Rama, we have seen how, for the sake of upholding the truth, not of him, he didn't give a word, even for his father, he gave up the kingdom, went on exile in the forest. So that is the kind of sacrifice should show the importance of following truth. So that is very, very important. So Sri Ramakrishna of recent times said, if you follow truth, absolute truth, for 12 years, whatever you say, it happens. That's why Swami said it will happen within a year. Hospital will come, it came. He said you will have this will happen with you, it will happen, because he's an avatar anyway. But even saints who practice the truth, that is important, your words become very, very powerful. That is the importance of practicing truth. And here maybe I will just tell one story which Swami said in the Chinnakatha. So just all of you refer that, it makes it profound. Here, so there is this thief who used to steal everything. So he went to a guru. Guru, give me some advice what to do. He says, you tell me anything I will do, but don't steal, because that is my livelihood. I have to support my family. I have to think, how can I stop stealing? You see, so because the guru will say, hey, stealing is bad. You don't say that anything else you tell, I will follow implicitly. Says, yeah, always speak truth. Yeah, that I will tell is no problem. He thought it's so simple. So one time he wanted to loot the treasury of the king himself. So in the kings in those days, they used to go around the town in incognito. So he was going around, and he saw this guy. What are you? He has to tell truth. What are you? I'm a thief. What are your plans? I'm going to loot the treasury of the king tonight. So, yeah, I also want to do that. I can join you, he said, because the king himself. I know the secret. So, okay. So they went to the palace because he's the king. He has even keys. I know he told all the treasures where they are, the bags and treasures. So this guy was happy thief. They looted all the diamonds, precious jewelry, and everything taken off. Then this guy, because he was speaking truth, his mind changed already. He said, it is not bad, poor guy, king, everything I take, what will happen? Let me leave one diamond in the treasury box, one diamond, just let me, everything else they took. So then that is it. Then, because king knows he is a part of the thief, he is the other partner to the thief. So he knows where it was. So then he told his minister, hey, the whole thing is looted, find out who it is. I think I have a suspicion. He gives the clue, that place go, and they bring that guy. And meanwhile, this minister go and check what is all the thing that is taken away, looted. He goes, he says all the diamonds, but there was one diamond. Says, anyway, everything is taken up. There is one diamond. What is there? This minister pocketed it in his tie, because he won't notice, because everything, king will think everything is gone. Just one more diamond, what is there? He pocketed it. Then they brought the thief. So because she gave a word, he will speak. He said, what are you? I'm a thief. Last night I had loot the treasury, and I had a partner also who came, and we stole. Did you take him? No, I didn't take everything. Just left one diamond for the king. So he said, so yes. Then again, king knows that they left it because he was part. He says, go and verify. The minister says, no. Then they found it. It is in his pocket, in the pocket of the minister. Then the benefit is, then the king fires this minister, just excommunicates him from the kingdom, throw him away. He's being in such high position, he's telling the untruth, and makes the thief as the minister. So just following Swami says one good value, so how it can benefit you. And same thing, following one bad value, he will ruin you. That is also Swami said. One guy, he has 4 bad things. I don't know how he gave a choice. You can drink alcohol, you can steal, or you can lie, or you can curse the Vedas. He says, oh, Vedas are so good, how can I do that? truth is God. How can I tell lies? Stealing is bad. Alcohol, that only damages me. I drink alcohol is okay. He agreed. That one, you should have said everything, no, all bads are bad. Alcohol is okay, people drink. Then he drank. Once he drank, he was not in his control. So people say, what are you doing? I didn't even drink alcohol, started lying. Then he cursed the Vedas. What are Vedas? They are useless things. People created them. Then he started, for the sake of getting money for the alcohol, because he ran out, he used to steal. So one bad habit will ruin you, and one good habit can save you. Main thing is, there is where Swami said, just stick to one good value. Then that's why he says, even Bhagavad Gita we are reading, there are 700 shlokas. Swami says, if you know all that is good, but just one shloka you know and practice, that will redeem you. Like give the example of matchbox. In matchbox, there are so many matchsticks, say 700 matchsticks. You don't take 700 to light the lamp. One good matchstick, it will light the lamp. Then it is done. Similarly, taking seriously one thing and practicing, that is the most important thing. So that is the nice lessons we can to learn from Swami's small stories. And another thing Swami profoundly said is, you say something, you keep quiet is okay, and then you don't practice, that is the greatest adharma. Something, so hey, you should come on time to the place. But you yourself come late, that is adharma. If you do, keep quiet is okay. You anything, whatever you say, you should make sure, am I practicing this? So that is what the important thing, self-audit. That is, Swami says, from the deed, that a thing is done when it is only uttered, this is adharma. So when you say something but you don't practice, that is adharma. That is very extreme statement Swami made, but which makes us reflect and say, practice that. Okay, Nirupama, you can continue. Page, you want to add anything from last week's discussion? Please go ahead.
Sairam, I was actually going to add to what you just said. Well, I was telling my uncle once that back in the day, I used to teach SSE class, and I said, it's been really good for me because we talk about, you should talk to your parents with respect. So then it kind of checked me. I can't fight with my dad because I'm telling the kids they can't do that. And so he told me a story about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who there was a lady that brought her son to him and said, can you please tell him to stop eating sweets? And so he tells her, come back and bring your son back in 3 days. And so they came back, and he said, she said, why did I have to wait for 3 days? And he said, because I had to stop eating sweets so I could tell your son. So it's very much the same idea that what you were just saying. We have to practice what we say. And it just kind of.
No, and also another thing is, you are telling that because you are a SSC teacher, I didn't know. That's why you read well and summarize. There is a practice. People who teach the kids, there is a good service by itself. There is a noble service being a SSC teacher, Swami says. And that is good. You are teaching in St. Louis?
Nashville.
Oh, Nashville, Tennessee. That is good. Because that is why when you are teaching something, even telling, you will feel guilty. Hey, I'm telling this, do we practice or not? It happened to me about 25, 30 years ago. We used to have different, not Gita Vahini. Every month, third Saturday, we used to have Gita circle. Some of you might have come. We used to do that, and it was going well. But after a while, I felt, I'm telling what is I'm not enlightened soul, what can I do? I told Swami, I want to stop it. Swami, there is nothing. And Swami says, no. He said two things. One is, when you study, you are studying and you are sharing God's message. That is good. Number two, when you do that, you will think, oh yeah, I'm telling this, am I practicing? You will feel guilty about it. So it makes you practice. So that way it helps you not only share God's message, but it makes you introspect and see whether I am practicing. That is why these are good things. Thanks. Please proceed. Yeah, anybody else, any comments? Don't hesitate. This is study circle. I repeatedly say that. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just going to start a couple of sentences before to reread. Now, in this Iron Age, our Kali Yuga, Dharma has become a mere matter of words. Dharma is not just the magical manipulation of words. This must be clearly understood. What has to be spoken is truth. What has to be acted is dharma. Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara has been the clarion call of the Upanishads, the repositories of Indian culture. These glorious teachings have been forgotten today. They have been turned upside down, in fact. Dharmam Vada, speak Dharma, is the order of the day. That is the first step in the decline of Dharma, this descent from deed to word, the belief that a thing is done when it is only uttered. This is adharma, in fact. But that which is not practiced cannot possess strength. The crocodile's strength depends on its being in water. The strength of dharma depends upon its being practiced. It becomes weak when it is taken out of practice and thrown on the sands of words. Sathya is a matter of speech. It gets strength when it is practiced in speech. It is difficult to practice it in action. Strength has two meanings here: animal strength and dharmic strength. Bhima had physical strength, but his elder brother, Dharmarja, was by his side. Bhima's strength became dharmic. The Pandavas were saved by their adherence to dharmic strength. But for that, they would have suffered defeat even in the very beginning. The Pandavas, without Dharmaja, whatever their resources, would have been an easy match for their opponents. Just ponder over that. How were the Kauravas destroyed in spite of their vastly superior resources? They did not have dharmic strength. All that they could rely on was sheer animal strength. The day when Dharmaja and Bhima, those who had dharmic strength, moved into the forest, adharma penetrated into the land of the Kauravas.
Yeah, one more paragraph maybe.
So the dharma that has now been exiled into the forest has to be restored to the villages and towns in order to establish plenty, prosperity, and peace in the world. From the reign of adharma, the world has to enter the era of dharma. Special effort is called for when you cultivate a crop. No effort is necessary when weeds and wild grass are allowed to grow. The valuable crop of sahaja dharma has to be cultivated with all care and attention. When dharma is practiced, adharma will decline by itself. No special exertion is needed for putting it out of action. Therefore, dharma stapana means in this present context the growth of the practice of dharma. So this passage was exceptionally powerful, and I think there's so many examples where dharmic strength can overpower animal strength, whether it's in nature or even in stories. I think one of the more famous ones is the story of David and Goliath from the Bible. And I think everyone's familiar with that one.
No, wait. Everyone, are you familiar with that David and Goliath story, Ram?
No.
How many are you? So not too many people know.
Oh.
So that is why you grow up here in the Bible. I know that story, but many people who don't know the Bible. Do you know, Hari, that story, David Goliath? I know very few people know that. So I think here, maybe one or two may not know. So just tell the
briefly
story. Tell
the
the
story.
people know.
So Goliath was this giant that was, I'm just going to kind of tell, just very brief, was threatening a community, and everyone was afraid of him. Nobody could really overpower him or beat him because he beat everyone. You have this really small kid basically named David, who had this sense of courage and kind of believed that he could beat him and had sort of a focus. So what he did, he took a slingshot, put a stone in it, aimed it at his forehead, and then hit the giant with that stone and was able to defeat him. Basically, by having this dharmic strength of believing in yourself, this confidence. Swami always talks about having self-confidence and having the courage to go against him, but also using not this physical strength, which is a little bit more, animalistic in a way, but using your dharmic strength and understanding that how with one, if you just hit in the right place, you can knock down this giant.
The main thing is this guy is very powerful. This guy is not easy. It's difficult, even strong people to do. So this little boy just, and the aim at that means he is using the dharmic power to destroy not. So that is what the like astra it is becomes. So what shows is not your physical strength, but your spiritual or dharmic strength. That is the lesson, and that's what Swami. Yeah, please proceed. You are about to. Well, you started with that and go.
I was also going to. There's, as kids, we always heard the story about the rabbit and the turtle in a race. The rabbit has his animal strength where he's moving really quickly, and he is sort of taunting the turtle. The turtle, in all of his dharmic strength, moves at the same pace. And eventually, because the rabbit has been, kind of a showman in a way, he gets tired and he doesn't quite make it to the finish line before the turtle, because the turtle just kind of kept the steady pace. So then the moral of that story is that slow and steady wins the race, which is again a dharmic principle, not rushing and showing off too.
That's why here Swami says people talk of dharma is what the present day, the politicians and all the people, they're called, Swami calls them platform heroes, practical zeros. They likes to give talks, but they don't practice. Important. That's why the same thing which you hear from these various so-called political leaders, it doesn't make impact. The same thing, a simple saint, the one who practices says it goes to your heart because it is coming from they're living that thing. That is why it is important. Swami says you need to practice that. And here also, very important, all the commentaries you see, the explanation they give is yada yada hi dharmasya, the famous sloka of Lord Krishna, Glanir Bhavati Bharata Abhyuttana. Whenever there is decline, I will incarnate. Everybody says when there is a decline of dharma, this particular point Swami emphatically said, dharma never declines. Practice of dharma declines. And that is why here also explaining dharma sthapana means he's not bringing out dharma, making more people or more, you practice dharma more. So that clear concept is unique to the avatar. The same scriptures, how they, in the light of the avatars, how they give us a proper insight. That is the amazing thing. So that is what the dharma sthapana he has come, because we're not practicing dharma, that makes us weak. But let me tell you, so anywhere time you practice dharma's truth, you think your life will be smooth? No, like Pandavas, how much? Pandavas, how much they had to suffer. They are thrown out of the kingdom, they were put in the forest, even the forest they suffered, because that guy's bad people, they don't want to see good people to be happy. They always want to spread rumors, give trouble. Even now it is happening, even spiritual organization like us. People always want to bad thing, but they are the one who will be suffering. So same thing, Pandavas has to go through all that. They had to be, their property has to be was dishonored in public. They were thrown in the forest, lost all their wealth. But ultimately, the success. That is why he says not right away. You have to go through all the troubles. And the greatest thing is when Bhishma, he was a great man. He was in the bed of arrows. And he taught the Vishnu Sahasranama to Dharmaraja. Then Bhishma had a doubt. Lord, these people are very dharmic, Pandavas. They're such a noble lady, and you are on their side too. Krishna is not supporting them, you are. But still, they had to go through all these troubles. I don't understand. Because when God is on your side, you are righteous, you are truthful, you have to go through all the troubles. And that is the way it is to purify. The Lord says, is to get the purification process. So God makes us go through the trials and tribulations. So you should think the tests are God's taste. That is to purify our heart, all the dross and negativity. Because when everything is smooth, you don't get the real, as the other day I shared, Swami Vivekananda said, the world is like a gymnasium where spiritually strength, all the troubles will come. Then how do you face with the strength in God? Just, it doesn't matter, this is possible, cloudy. I know we'll all disturb to a different degree, but just right away you come back to the balance because you are established in God. That is what the Pandavas were. Two things, particularly Dharmaraja was embodiment of Dharma. And second thing is, in the war, when they had to choose, as he said, Kauravas had so much more army, many times much more than Pandavas. So naturally balance is on their side, they can win. But in their side, two things are there, Dharma and the Lord himself, Lord Krishna. He said, he gave the choice to Duryodhana, so you can either choose me, but I won't take arms, and choose all my army and take everything. So the Duryodhana thought he's very smart. Who wants this man who doesn't even take arms? He doesn't know he's the Lord Supreme, he can do anything. And he chose the army. Whereas the Arjuna is really great devotee. So he said, no, I don't want anything. I want you. If you are on my side, I know success. That is true. So when God is on your side, even though temporarily you may go through troubles, you will have victory. We should have that faith and conviction. So that is what all these stories show. But main thing is to practice that dharma. Okay, you want to continue with time? Oh yeah, it's still. Huh? Is there anyone asking? Does anyone have any question, comments?
No.
Okay. Anybody has any comments? No. Okay, continue.
What does it mean when people say the sun has set? Only it is not visible to us. So too, simply because Dharma is not evident, you cannot say it has gone out of existence. How can it go out of existence? If it goes, it cannot be truth or Dharma. Dharma, since it is associated with truth, is indestructible. To make the Dharma that has become hidden visible once again, that is the real Dharmastapana. What Krishna is doing is exactly that. Using Arjuna as an instrument, he is bringing to light the codes of conduct and modes of thought which are laid down as Dharma from the very beginning and once again enforcing their practice. This is referred to as Dharmodharana. He is reviving something that is lost. This is not work that can be carried out by ordinary men. So the universal basis, the universal Lord himself, to assume the task. He alone is Sarva Shakta. He is teaching the world through Arjuna. If Arjuna was an individual like others, he could not be the recipient and transmitter of this great teaching. So you must infer that Arjuna was really a great man. He is a hero who has defeated not merely outer foes, but even the inner ones. Weak hearts cannot grasp the Gita and put it into practice. It is with this full knowledge and this high purpose that Krishna selected Arjuna as the vehicle and showered on him his grace. I think this just kind of is just an extension of everything that Bhagwan's been writing here, that the existence of Dharma will always be there. But then Lord Krishna is using Arjuna as sort of this instrument to teach us the practice of Dharma, because Arjuna did really embody that in this era. I always like the analogy of the sun, because we think it sets because we don't see it, but it really doesn't. It just sort of moves because of the rotation of the earth, but it's always there. And we can sort of see the reflection of it when we see the moon as well. So just because we don't necessarily see the fruits of some of these things right away doesn't mean that it's not happening. The whole idea of practicing Dharma is creating this vibration in our universe, where at least what we're sending and what we're putting out into the universe is something that's loving and kind and righteous. And hopefully when we're putting that out, it's what becomes returned to all of us, if it's what we share.
Yeah, here the thing is, we shared that before. There are two things he said. That sun sets, sun never sets, sun rises. Two words are used in Sanskrit: nijam, satyam. In English, you can say fact and truth. The fact is, yeah, you see sun rising, sun setting. And in fact, you see a mirage. You see fact that there is a snake and a rope. These are all facts, you see them. But the truth is, sun never rises, never sets. Mirage is mirage. It is not, there is no water there. And you see a snake and a rope because of the darkness. You put the light on, the snake disappears. Did it disappear? It was never there. You assumed it is. So this is called fact versus truth. So Trikala Bhadyam Satyam. Truth is one which never changes. Something changes is not truth, it is fact. Like I was looking like this, that was a fact. Now I am middle age, then I get old. So all these are facts. But the ultimate truth, Atma, is the one which never changes. So the whole purpose of spirituality is go towards that which never changes. Everything else in the world changes. Your job changes, your age changes, your body changes, even your mind, thought process changes, but the one doesn't change. So go beyond this body, mind, intellect, which always changes, to the Atma. That is why this guy Arjuna, he was prepared to receive that message. That is why all the five people are great. The Dharmaraja is the embodiment of Dharma, Arjuna and Bhima is the greatest, very physically strong man. Nakula and Sahadeva, they are very intelligent and great people. Everybody is gem by itself. But Lord Krishna chose Arjuna. So I shared this before. Once, why did he choose Arjuna? He could have chosen Dharmaraja. He could have chosen Bhima to give Gita, but he chose Arjuna because teacher likes the best student who can really practice and understand the teachings. So Arjuna was the best. Why? The logic, I shared that before, and Swami said that. Anybody remembers? Huh? Yeah, 430. Yes, Purvatapam rather than Paschatapam. Before the war happened, he said, what is going to happen? Oh my God, my uncles will die. My teachers who taught me, Drona, Krupacharya, my great-grandson Bhishma, who is like me for like a father figure, who was my teacher, everything. So they are going to die. My cousins will die. Bloodshed. What is this purpose? He worried about the consequences. Forethought rather than hindthought. Purvatapam they call. Paschatap means after something happened, you cry, my God, I should not have done. So whereas Dharmaraja was like that, even though he's a man, after the whole war is won, he did a Rajasuya yaga because they said, oh my God, so many people were killed. But he didn't know that God, it is done under the direction of God, so no sin will happen. But he had that paschatapam, he regretted after the fact. Similarly in life, for all of us, before you undertake any action, you see the foresight. What are the consequences of doing this? Pros and cons. Don't be hasty and jump into action, whether it is service activity or starting a program, whatever it is. Is it good, not good? And then pray to Swami, he will guide us. So foresight is one quality he had got. Second, he had got that one-pointedness. We told the story when he had to hit, there was a bird on the tree, he had to hit the eye of the bird. Everybody saw the sky, like Dharmaraj, others. They saw the tree, they saw the leaves, they saw the clouds. But he saw only the eye of the bird. That is why even when he won Draupadi, even seeing the reflection of the fish, he could hit it, because you have one-pointedness. To show that anything in life if you want to achieve, that in sports also, people who achieve in the sports or music, whatever field you are, people with one-pointedness, he is the one who will achieve. In spiritual life, more so. That means when you cannot have a scattered brain, you have one-pointed. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekehe kurunandana, one-pointedness. He had that one-pointedness. Third quality he had, I already said that, right? He chose God more than the material things. When he had to choose army versus this, he had to choose the faith. Good. Good. You remember one of that. That is this third point is he gave priority to God than other. Fourth important is absolute faith in God. As we know the story of the bird, he says, oh, it is a dove, it is a crow, it is a swan. He says, whatever he said yes, because he said, I have faith in your words more than in my eyes. Whatever you say is true. So he had this wonderful quality, one-pointedness, faith, and giving priority to God in his life, and then foresight. Next time, somebody has to summarize all the 4 points. This I said a few times, so just think. So that is why I'm telling this is, similarly, we need to receive Swami's message and practice. We need to practice those qualities. We need to have one-pointedness, we need to have foresight, and we need to have priority to God and absolute faith in Swami, his teachings, and his glory, and then our own Atma. So this is when we'll become really the students of him.
Uncle, is absolute faith different than complete surrender?
No, both are the same. If you have absolute faith, you are surrendered. So the spiritual one, you get the ultimate purpose of life you gain by, once you surrender, that is why even great jnani like Bhagavan Ramana said, there is no difference between surrender and jnana. Surrender means you completely, Lord, thine will be done. You don't exist. But that complete surrender is not that easy. It will come ultimately by his grace. Most of us are partial surrender. So even you know the story of the Draupadi, when she was disrobed, what happened? So she was holding it one thing and she was praying, Lord. Then she know her physical strength is no use. Then she gave up everything. Krishna, instead of saying Krishna, Hridaya Vasa, she said Dwaraka Vasa. That is why he said there was a delay. But when she says completely, Lord, I cannot do anything. It is only you. When she completely lifted up hands and surrendered, then the Lord Krishna. Then you are struggling anyway yourself, why to go? So then you complete surrender, then happens that there are many stories. Gajendra is another one, Gajendra Moksham, where people struggle, which is nothing wrong. In the beginning, when you tank, you can put the effort, you need to put it. But ultimately, you know that God is the only one who runs the whole show. But that needs to have that conviction from experience. That is the thing. So if you point to that, surrender is the last word in spirituality. That's why I said the famous sloka, which is the one I said in Bhagavad Gita, which is called Charma Shloka by Vaishnavite. Charma Shloka means there is a last sloka, even though there are many shlokas. Chapter 18, Shloka 66. There are many shlokas after that, about 7, 8 shlokas, but this is called by Vaishnava Charma Shloka because this is where he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Giving everything, Mam Ekam, only to me you surrender. So we surrender sometime to family and sometime to God, sometime to the work and sometime to this. So you should have absolute ekam. He says, not to me, only to me. You should surrender. Then what will you do? Dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Ahantva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucheha. Then two things I will do. All your sins, because of that we are born and suffer. Sarva papebhyo, not some sins. All sins I will wash it away. And get rid of your griefs. Ma sucheha. No more grief. You will be happy. Whole life is everybody is in search of peace and happiness, right? Whatever you do, ultimately that is the purpose. So I will get rid of your grief and get rid of your sins, and then the gives, what is the ultimate gift? Mokshayishyami masuja. I'll give you the highest boon, which is liberation. For that, you should give up everything and completely surrender to me alone. So the first part of the stanza is what we should do. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. That is what we need to do, surrender. Then the assurance, the second part is God will get rid of the sins, get rid of our grief, and give the moksha. So that is why I said surrender is that is called the prapatti. So it comes from parabhakti. That is why I said it's panchama purushartha of all the things. Dharmartha, kama, moksha. This is called the ultimate thing. So, but that you need to have that intense longing for God and then God's grace. Good question, Sarangela. We should have more interactive things. Okay, so we'll continue next week, and there's something there.